Hi, this is Lane A492. This is the true crime story video I'm doing today. This is segment 2 on Florida death row inmate Michael Bernard Bell. Of course, he's scheduled for execution this evening in Florida, up in the town of Stark, which is west of Jacksonville. First, his lawyers argued that there were witnesses who claimed that they were coerced into saying, but they pleaded the Fifth Amendment. But even if that wasn't if it were the case, the judge said there was still overwhelming evidence that Michael Bernard Bell was still the perpetrator who was convicted in the double murders of 23-year-old Jimmy West and 18-year-old Tamika Smith. Because as I previously mentioned on the video I did on Michael Bernard Bell, was that Michael Bernard Bell wanted revenge on Theodore Wright, who fatally shot Bell's brother, Lamar Bell, that, according to the police, was declared to be self-defense. And apparently Theodore Wright sold the yellow Plymouth Fury to Jimmy West, and he didn't realize that Theodore Wright had already sold the car. He felt that Theodore Wright was still in that car. But now, being that argument they know isn't going to get anywhere, this time the lawyers are arguing that Michael Bernard Bell is one of those one of those dozen on Florida's death row who were victims of abuse at the now defunct Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys. That was a reform school that closed permanently in 2011 after it was plagued with nothing but abuse scandals. I did a true crime story video last year on a prisoner Florida executed, whose lawyers also said he was a victim of abuse at the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys. Of course, that prisoner was Loran Kinsley Cole, who was convicted in the brutal murder of John Timothy Edwards and the sexual assault of his sister Pamela Edwards. But as I said before, in the case of Loran Kinsley Cole, is the same with Michael Bernard Bell. Despite any abuse that they endured at this terrible reform school that's now closed, it's still not an excuse for Loran Kinsley Cole to go out and wrench the life away from somebody else. And it certainly is no different for Michael Bernard Bell, because it's no excuse for him to go out and wrench the life away from the two people that sent him to death row, Jimmy West and Tamika Smith, or 3 other people that Michael Bernard Bell pleaded guilty to murdering. LaShawn Cowart and her 2-year-old son, Travis Cowart, and his mother's boyfriend, Michael Johnson. That's what they argue, that these people suffered abuse or a terrible upbringing. But still, it's not an excuse for somebody to go out and wrench the life away from somebody else. I was also raised to abide by these words. No one is responsible for your actions but you. That's what people need to learn, is playing the victim is going to get a person nowhere in life. It's just an attempt to weasel out of the consequences of their actions. People still need to take responsibility for their actions, for what they did. And growing up with abuse is not an excuse, as I said, for anybody to go out and wrench the life away from somebody else. They still got to be held accountable for what they did. I said Loran Kinsley Cole is no exception, and neither is Michael Bernard Bell. And after Michael Bernard Bell is executed, on the last day of July 31st, Florida will execute Edward John Zacharzewski II, which means Florida is definitely going to be breaking records on that one, but I'll do another video on that one another time. Well, hope you enjoy this video and let me know what you think. Thanks.